Good morning, everybody. So, inflation, right? Uh, Went out onto the webs to find out how much harmonicas cost these days. And Special 20, which is kind of the harmonica people talk about, they go anywhere between about $45 and $60, depending on, where you look. That seems like a lot of money to pay for a harmonica. And I've talked about some of these inexpensive harmonicas before, but I think now in 2022, or the very waning bits of 2022, it might behoove us to review some of these inexpensive harmonicas again. So today I'm going to talk about four. I've talked about some of these before, but we've got a couple of criteria. One is they have to be less than $20, and two, they have to be available in at least the standard 7 gigging keys, right? So A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. There are a lot of inexpensive harmonicas out there that are available only in the key of C, but that doesn't really do you any good unless, your band only plays in G, which, anyway. So of the four that I've found that I like a lot, well, three I like a lot, one I just stumbled across recently, and we'll get that one out of the way quick. We got the Kongsheng Amazing 20 with its orange comb. We have the Fender Blues Deluxe, which is the least expensive of the lot. I picked this one up from my friends over at Sweetwater Music. They retail for about $12 and a half dollars. And Fender was running a promotion which saved me an extra massive 10%. So I got this and a bag of candy for $10 and change, free shipping. The standard Easttop T008k, which is still, I think, the holy grail of the inexpensive harp. And then this one, which I'll talk about first, which is the Easttop T003. And they call it the free blues harmonica. I got it about half right. It's not free, but it is blue. This one, it's a recessed reed model. It plays okay. Not overly crazy about it. It seems like it might take a little bit more work, but it's in tune and it's relatively well constructed. I think it's the bass harmonica that Fender, the Fender model is used for. I'm pretty sure Fender is made by Easttop. I think it's a stencil. And they look, from a form factor perspective, they are very nearly identical, except this one's blue. And this one's made, has Fender written on it. It sounds okay. And it's playable, but of these four that I'm talking about, this one is probably the hardest to play. It's still okay, but it's just not, it's $18, $19 on AliExpress. And again, it sounds okay, but it's just not. Yeah, so I'm going to stop short of endorsing this. They look okay, and I got one in C and one in A. And again, plays okay if you want to play whammer on it. Anyway, you can do it. I'm not sure about that 10 bend though. Man, it's a little squeaky. Compare that to the Amazing 20, also in A. This one is another recessed reed model. Cool orange comb. These slightly small square holes. nice 10-hole blow. So forth and so on. The C version of the Amazing 20, also perfectly good harp. Also about $18. I've mentioned this before, the slightly smaller holes mean that you have to be a little bit more accurate when you're playing it, just because you have to focus the air on those little spaces, and sometimes you find yourself blowing or sucking on that space between the holes, and that makes no noise. But it's something that you get used to pretty quickly. These are well-constructed harps. The Kongsheng line, top to bottom, I don't have any problems with fit and finish. Plus, these look pretty cool. The tone on both the T003 and the Amazing 20 are kind of mellow, right? It's not to say they're not loud, but it's just a nice, pleasing acoustic sound. Very similar. Similar also to the Fender Blues Deluxe. These things fall into the love 'em or hate 'em category, and I don't understand the people that hate them. For $12, or in this case $10 and a bag of candy, I still don't think that these could be beat. You can probably gig with these, right? You heard the overblow in there, right? Yeah, on some of these, at least on the 6, you can Let me just say this about overblows, though. In gigs, they go one of two ways. Either you nail them and nobody notices, or you miss them and everybody notices. So, the risk-reward ratio on overblows is just not a thing that supports their use. At an open mic night, if you warm up with an overblow scale, it's a great way to mark your territory if there are other harmonica players. It's a little bit more accepted than, peeing on the amps, but it's kind of the same thing. Really, the only people that notice overblows are other harmonica players, and unless you're there specifically to intimidate those guys. Anyway. So if you're an overblower, I apologize to you in advance. These harps don't really overblow all that well straight out of the box, but I'm pretty sure you could modify them to get them to do it. This is the Fender Blues Deluxe. And I haven't done anything with any of these except take them out of the box, and now we're playing them here. Yeah, so the 6, that's there. Amazing 20. Amazing 20, not a good out-of-the-box overblower. I can't imagine this T003 fleet. Let's try it. No. Alright, so the Fender works. $10. Now let's get back to the old Easttop T008k. This is the heaviest of the bunch. It's the loudest of the bunch. It is a sandwich style, the only sandwich style harp of these 4, which means it's a little less comfortable. And also the numbers on the top seem like the paint is kind of raised, and so you feel that. That said, the tone also of these other 3 are sort of mellow. This one's a reedy, brassy sound. Compared to the Fender. but it has more over. This thing you can overblow. There was the 5. Let's see if we can do the 4. Yeah. So, and again, this is straight out of the box. The only thing that has happened to this since I purchased this, I added the C sticker. Again, you can quibble about the acoustic tone because of that reedy metallic sound. Which I don't particularly care for on an acoustic level, but again, if you're putting it through a mic and an amp, you won't be able to hear the difference. This is a very responsive harmonica. Again, it's loud. It's easy to play. The bends are all there, as you've heard. You know, this one even has overblows. I suspect that's kind of a hit or a miss thing. Probably if you get, 5 C harps, 3 of them might have out-of-the-box overblows and 2 of them might not. I don't know how consistent they're going to be. But again, for less than 20 bucks, this one just feels like a solid instrument, right? Screwed that up. But anyway, you can tell what it sounds like. Oh, tuning. These are all in tune. I played the octave splits on all of them, and they, I have no problems with the tuning. So, before I run out of things to say completely, I would say that if you get any of these 3, the Amazing 20 by Kongsheng, the Fender Blues Deluxe, probably by Easttop, but we'll say it's by Fender, or the Easttop T008k, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Certainly not for the amount of money that you're paying. The best bang for the buck is still the Fender, at $12, but these two $18 to $20 harps are every bit as good if you're getting a set. I would caution you away from the T003, but just because it feels a little airy. Again, you can play it and make it sound okay, but it just takes a little bit more effort than perhaps is necessary, especially when you have these other 3 options at your disposal. All right, been carrying on long enough here. If you're out there trying to save some money, get yourself one of these. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Till next time.